The End Dimension has always been a fascinating place, a realm shrouded in mystery, ruled by the Ender Dragon and patrolled by the eerie Enderman. Majestic floating islands drift silently through the void, creating a world both haunting and mesmerizing. Yet, despite its intrigue, Mojang has left the End largely untouched for the past 15 years. Java players have long enjoyed incredible mods that breathed new life into this forgotten frontier, but Bedrock has been missing out. Until now. Welcome to the Eternal End. This captivating transformation crafted by Panascais rebuilds the End into an entirely new world. Explore fresh biomes teeming with life, encounter strange creatures, uncover powerful blocks and new structures, and create a brand new life within the End Dimension. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Wolf, and in today's video I will be your guide through this new and uncharted land of the Eternal End, helping you to learn all of the basics, showing you all of the new gear that you can collect and craft, as well as how to summon and defeat the Warden of this new area, the Void Dragon. So, let's get started. Now, this add-on is absolutely massive, so for the guide I decided to just highlight the most important pieces, each of the new biomes, the major mechanics, the gear, and the boss fight. Panascais did a fantastic job with the wiki for this add-on, which has a full in-depth breakdown of every item, every structure, every mob, down to the last block. So, I've linked that in the description if you want to use that as a reference. I've also included timestamps, so if you're looking for information on just one biome, you can jump straight to it. To begin, this add-on will run you 1,340 Minecraft coins. Packed with substantial features, this add-on offers exceptional value, ensuring that you get your money's worth, and then some. When joining your world or realm, you'll be given a guidebook and a settings tool. The settings tool allows you to change VFX effects, like fog or floating particles. Also, things like light rays, ambient sounds, and even a pop-up message letting you know when you've crossed into a new biome. This add-on also has the tree capper ability baked in, which for those of you who don't know, allows you to cut down entire trees by just breaking one block. You can adjust this to affect all trees or just the trees within the End. Unfortunately, the guidebook is less of a guidebook and more of an introduction book. It shows you the 6 new biomes and gives you a very brief description of each, with a few teasers to what you may find there. But that's exactly why I made this video, to help you guys through your End adventures. Now, the progression to the End is exactly the same as it is in vanilla Minecraft. Make your nether portal, get some blaze rods, find a stronghold, defeat the Ender Dragon, blah 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 blah. But after stepping through the End Gateway for the first time, you are transported to an End Dimension unlike anything that you have ever seen. The End is transformed into a realm of breathtaking contrasts. Vast chorus fruit forests stretch across the horizon, shimmering gold ridges with gleaming geodes pierce through the earth like hidden treasures. Frozen spires stand tall, their icy peaks surrounded by rivers of packed jelly flowing in an unnatural rhythm. Floating islands drift through the sky, crowned with towering verdant trees, home to otherworldly creatures that roam the forest floors. Then comes the Shadow, a mysterious dark land where the void consumes light, where deep crevices lead straight into nothingness. I've gone ahead and broken down each one of these new biomes by section. This way, we can take a look at each of the new structures, the new items, the new mobs, and the new terrain that comes with each one. Starting out, let's go through the vanilla biome. Now, the vanilla biome looks very similar to how you're used to seeing it, though with beautifully enhanced ambient particles and fogs. You'll now also come across small patches of grass and large forests. Watch out for the purple grass called violet void grass. This will hurt you if you touch it, just like sweetberry plants. Let's go over some of the structures that you're going to find here. All vanilla structures that you're used to seeing are still here. Normal End cities still spawn throughout the End, and End ships still hold elytra like they do in the base game. However, now you will also find purple ruins, which are the remnants of old outposts or houses, as well as shipwrecks, all of which make a good place to shelter when in a pinch. With this add-on, new life has been brought to the End. Villages have now begun to appear in each of the new biomes, all with villagers that resemble their overworld counterparts. Fishermen, farmers, blacksmiths, as well as new guards to protect all of these small homes. Now, these next few structures can actually be found randomly throughout all of the End and are not exclusive to just the vanilla biome. Those are hanging mines, hanging ruins, and hanging dungeons. All of these generate on the underside of islands suspended by chains. Each one of them come with their own unique challenge. First, hanging ruins. These are littered with clay pots and the occasional shulker. Sometimes you can even find shulker boxes filled with all types of goodies. Now, the hanging mines look exactly like abandoned mines in the overworld, but watch out for shulkers and spiderwebs. You can also find shulker boxes full of loot scattered throughout these. Hanging dungeons, on the other hand, are much more dangerous if not well equipped. These are teeming with mob spawners as well as patrolled by beings from the Shadowfold. These dungeons are one of the only places that you can find Enderite smithing templates, which are required to craft the new Enderite armor and tools, which I'll explain more about a little bit later in the video. So as dangerous as they are a necessary part to progress through this add-on. Now, like I said a second ago, there is now new life in the End, with each biome having new mobs to see, tame, befriend, or fight. In the vanilla biome, you will find the farmland villagers. There are actually 5 variants of villagers in this add-on. The farmlands, the gilded, the prism, the sporelight, and the shadow. They all behave and resemble their overworld counterparts, having similar occupations and can be traded with using emeralds. You'll also see lost souls. These are passive mobs that appear whenever an entity dies while in the End. The color of the soul will match the biome which the entity dies. So for example, in the vanilla biome, lost souls are a light orange, whereas in a different biome they may be a blue or a pink. Souls float around for a little while and can be captured with a leash or in a glass bottle if you want to hold on to them. Unfortunately, there's no good way to display these other than just putting them into a picture frame. I made the suggestion to the devs to come up with a way for us to maybe place them down as decoration or act as a small lantern, since I think they look very cute and the glittery effect on the trail gives them a nice glowing effect. You'll also see ender slimes. This slime variant can only spawn in the vanilla biome of the End, and it drops red slime, which can be used to craft anything that normal green slime can. You may also come across a wandering trader in any of the 6 biomes, known as the Eternal Trader. It carries a random assortment of useful materials from the overworld. This allows you to obtain things from home without actually having to leave the End. The loud trumpets that you hear echoing through the void are the End Rays. These actually spawn and travel all over the End dimension. These massive creatures may look scary, but they're completely harmless. They are so large that you can walk around on their backs. They can even be ridden as a mount and guided to different islands as you explore. If you manage to defeat one of these gentle giants, they will drop a void totem, which I'll explain more about in a bit. Next are the springings. These funny looking creatures come in 2 different variants. Both of these guys are passive and can be ridden without being tamed. But be careful when dismounting, as these guys take a deep breath, sneeze, and then explode, leaving behind a small amount of gunpowder. And lastly are the Endermen. While these mobs are not new, they continue to reign over the vanilla biome. They still drop Ender Pearls when defeated, but now also have a chance to drop an Enderman Heart, which will become very important a little bit later. There are over 250 new items and blocks with this add-on, some of which are more useful than others, but to start off, the vanilla biome has 3 that I want to highlight. That being the new ground coverage plants, the new chorus trees, and the third technically can be found everywhere, but that is eternal debris. Firstly, there are a bunch of new little plants and grasses that cover the ground in the vanilla biome. There are actually a few different variants in each biome that all give off a small glow. These are great for decoration and act as a good little light source. Chorus tree forests are much different than the typical twigs that you're used to. These are full-blown trees with a canopy and everything. The wood harvested from these can be crafted into all of the same blocks that you're used to with vanilla wood, even things like planks, stairs, fences, and doors. But my one complaint with these and all the other Eternal End woods is that even though they look like vanilla blocks, they don't behave like vanilla blocks. For example, the stairs won't round a corner or blend with each other, and the doors, even though they look like they have a gap in the design to be able to see through them, you can't. It's not a huge deal, but it's something that I noticed while designing the stage for this video, and something I'd like to see updated in the future. One of the most important and sought after additions from this add-on is the new ore Eternal Debris. It is the end variant of Ancient Debris and can be found underground at the lowest level islands. One of the easier biomes to find it is actually the Gilded Ridge due to its unique topography. Speaking of which, is the next biome that I want to talk about. The Gilded Ridge, as described by the guidebook, says that the glowing meadows and tall ridges covered by huge honeywood trees make for an interesting terrain. Wheat fields and a variety of other plants grow on its rich soil, while crystals and rare ores can be discovered underground. Along with some of the structures that I just mentioned, the Gilded Ridge also has its own unique villages that spawn suspended from the undersides of islands. Home to the Gilded Villagers, there is even a chance to find gilded ships, which are just like the end ships from the vanilla end cities. Now the mobs native to the Gilded Ridge are all brand new, starting with the glowlings. These are the first biome-associated companions that can be tamed using any of the end-specific foods, and they kind of follow you around like a pet. There are little companions just like this for the other 5 new biomes. There are also the frostlings, the nibblings, the mistlings, and the shadowlings. Next is the Gilded Enderman. This variant of Enderman is categorized by its extremely tall and slender shape, as well as its striking gold detailing. When defeating this, has a small chance to drop a Gilded Enderman heart. Onto the Gilded Golems. These golems are the guardians of the Gilded Ridge. They stand as statues until the player comes close. They are very aggressive and will attack with devastating melees if close enough, and a ranged attack similar to shulkers. They are immune to fire, but when defeated have a chance to drop a golem core, which will also come in handy later. Along with the Gilded Golems are the Gilded Turtles. These are heavily armored turtles but are passive creatures and will hide under their Ametrine shells when a player is nearby. When in this state, they will reflect some of the damage to their attacker. They are immune to fire, but if defeated will have a chance to drop Ametrine crystals. This species can be bred, and they like to eat gilded wheat seeds. Lastly is the Gilded Deer. These majestic creatures wander through the Gilded Ridge, grazing on the wheat throughout the region. They are passive, but can be tamed by feeding them Ametrine crystals. They will drop gilded venison when defeated, and this can be grilled and cooked exactly like beef in the overworld. This biome has a slew of new blocks that you'll want to pay attention to while you're out exploring. The Gilded Ridge is home to a new and very important ore known as Ametrine. This is found in multiple different forms, all with a very similar name, so it can get confusing when first exploring this biome. Firstly, Ametrine crystals are the most common form to find Ametrine in. These crystals can be found in small clusters on the ground, mined from geodes, and can also drop from defeating mobs like the Gilded Golems and the Gilded Turtles. The crystals can be used to craft some of the new weapons and armor. But Ametrine also comes in 3 other forms: Ametrine geodes, Ametrine geode rocks, and Ametrine ore. See why I said it gets confusing? The geodes themselves look like this, and can be found scattered throughout the ridges and under the surface. They give off a glow that can be seen through other blocks. They will break into Ametrine crystals, but if you want to collect the geode itself, you'll need a Silk Touch pickaxe. The geode rocks resemble a small cluster of the larger geodes and will sometimes spawn in groups of gilded rocks on the ground. These can be harvested with any type of pickaxe, and these can be placed into a furnace and turned directly into Ametrine ingots, which are a crucial piece when creating Enderite. The gilded rocks, on the other hand, aren't associated with Ametrine in any way, and they'll just give you gold nuggets when mined. There is also Ametrine ore. This is often mistaken for the geodes. However, these are much different. These are a rare gem that can only be found deep underground within the Gilded Ridge. Placing these into a furnace or a blast furnace will also make Ametrine ingots. Along with a bunch of cool new rocks and ore, there are also new plants and trees. First are the Gleamfloat flowers. You can harvest blaze powder from these, as well as Gleamfloat seeds, so you no longer have to go back into the nether for blaze rods. Now, I believe the wiki says that the Gleamfloat flowers are supposed to give golden nuggets as well, but throughout my entire time playing this add-on, I never had that happen. Literally everywhere throughout this biome, you can also find gilded wheat. It acts exactly like regular overworld wheat and can be planted or crafted into bread for a quick snack. You can even use the seeds to replant it and have an endless source of food. There's even sunsilk lace, which grows from the ground and can hang down from the trees like vines. This breaks into string and glowberries. Lastly, the honeywood trees themselves. These absolutely stunning trees can be collected and crafted into all types of new wood blocks, including slabs, stairs, fences, and even trapdoors. Onto the most diverse biome out of the 6, the Prism Peak. A frosty biome, even the air seems to be frozen in place, but it makes the light shine even brighter. The beautiful void might deceive you, but beware, it is as dangerous as ever. Now, like I said, the Prism Peak is by far the most diverse of the 6 new biomes when it comes to new terrain. There are packed jelly ponds, jelly rivers, ice spikes, cryolite forests, void pillars, and shattered spikes. The structures you'll find here belong to the biome's unique villager variant, the Prism Villagers. These resourceful inhabitants have built their homes high into the ice spires, creating a breathtaking architectural style that truly blends with the landscape. Their village not only adapts to the biome, but enhances it, making it feel as though these villagers are a natural part of their icy surroundings. Along with the Prism Villagers, you'll also find Pale Endermen. This is the Prism Peak variant Enderman, and while similar in behavior, they are strikingly different in design, with these having glowing purple horns, a bright white silhouette, and when defeated drop a pale pearl, which will teleport you to the location that you're looking at, within reason, as opposed to throwing it like a regular pearl. They also have a small chance to drop a pale Enderman heart. This biome is also home to the jellyfish. These mesmerizing creatures are a neutral mob that hover around the Prism Peak. They try to avoid players, but if you happen to get too close, their tentacles will damage you. This mob drops glow ink sacks, and according to the wiki, sometimes glow dust. Even though this biome may seem desolate when it comes to useful items, it's actually quite the opposite. There are a bunch of handy plants and fruits that can provide some helpful benefits, starting with the moonberry vines and moonberries. These towering vines scatter the Prism Peak in small groves. They have a small chance to drop moonberries when destroyed. Unfortunately, they are not affected by bone meal like glowberries are. When consuming the moonberries, these act as another great food source for this biome. Another consumable are the frost bloom flowers and their seeds. Frost blooms are these small pink and blue buds all over the Prism biome. They have a chance to drop both frost bloom jelly and seeds, which can be used to cultivate the flower. The jelly can be consumed, granting you saturation and a speed boost. These effects can be stacked per the number of jelly you consume, but once reaching the max level, only the duration of the buff increases. Just like the ground cover plants in the vanilla biome, the Prism Peak has ice lumia and moonflowers, which both give off a faint glow. These can be used as decoration or as a small light source. And lastly are the cryolite trees. These are the Prism Peak's native tree. It has a light pink bark and almost translucent leaves. The wood can be collected and crafted into all kinds of wooden building materials. Next is the Sporelight Hollow. Glowing spores and warm purple glow illuminate this biome, while flying islands hang high above, featuring beautiful ponds and even secret villages. This biome has overgrown with fungal and spore trees, as well as special mushrooms and plants. As far as structures you may come across, first are the Sporelight Hollow ships, which are rarely found floating high amongst the islands of mushrooms, and Sporelight Hollow villages. These are the rarest among the new villages. They blend in extremely well with the surrounding spored mushrooms, making them pretty hard to spot while flying around. One of the new mobs in this area is known as the Schwepum. This creature may look cute, but they do not take kindly to strangers. They disguise themselves to look like the spring bulb mushrooms that cover this biome, and they won't attack you immediately, but if you disturb them, they will become aggressive. You also have spore lizards, the apex predator of the Sporelight Hollow. These creatures are hostile and aggressive. Their ranged spit attack will deal heavy amounts of poison damage. And lastly, the Mycotic Enderman. This Enderman variant acts and behaves exactly like the vanilla ones, however, have a bright pink hue and are draped in spores and fungus. They drop ender pearls when defeated, as well as also having a small chance to drop a Mycotic Enderman heart. Just like the Prism Peak, there are some fungi and spores that can help you while you're out exploring. First is the layer loom. These kebab-looking shrooms can be eaten and grant you saturation and a jump boost. This effect can be stacked depending on the amount of layer looms consumed until the boost is maxed out. Then, only the duration will increase. You also have spring bulbs. These small bulbish mushrooms act as a tiny springboard, and when you bounce on top of them, will shoot you back up into the air. Now, one thing to note about the small mushrooms in this biome is that any two can be combined with a bowl to make an awkward mushroom stew, which may not taste the best, but will grant you regeneration and nausea for 30 seconds. You also have this biome's native tree in the form of the spored and fungal mushrooms, which, much like the other trees, these mushrooms can be cut down for harvesting fungal and spore wood, and can also be crafted into wooden building materials. This biome is also home to one new type of ore, the purpurite and dark purpurite ore. Both of these new purple ores can be mined underground within the Sporelight Hollow, used to craft purpurite and dark purpurite building materials respectively. While its main purpose is just for building, it's nice to see some new types of ore that allow you to craft different kinds of end-theme blocks for building. I personally like to build bases that are on theme with the surrounding area. Moving on to the Verdant Grove. Flying islands, large plateaus, and small valleys make up this biome. The whispering trees cover the sky with their wide canopies, morning dew dripping from their low-hanging leaves. Wisps will shoot through the air around you, otherworldly plants with glimmering veins and flying spores cover the ground. There are very few structures in this region, but you can find Viridian House ruins. These are what remain of an ancient civilization that used to inhabit the Verdant Grove. Some of these will contain treasures left behind, forgotten by time. This biome feels very alien, or deep Amazonian-like in nature. The mobs here you will find are as follows. The Verdant Lizards, a cousin to the Spore Lizards. These are also extremely territorial and will attack on sight. Their ranged spit attack deals heavy poison damage. The Spriggings. These are the second variant of this mob. These guys are also passive, can be ridden without being tamed, and also still sneeze and explode after dismounting, so watch out. The Mossy Enderman. This variant of Enderman has been dormant for millennia, so long in fact that they have begun to transform into the environment around them. These behave the same as vanilla Endermen, but have a chance to drop a Mossy Enderman heart. While there are very few structures unique to this area, it does have some important flora that you will need throughout your journey through the end, starting with the verdant stalks and the coral spines. The coral spines are scattered throughout the floor of the verdant forest. When consumed, will grant saturation. The verdant stalks, however, are the bamboo-like stems that grow multiple blocks high. These can be crafted into sticks, as well as cooked down in a furnace to make verdant essence. Flare ferns. Small shrubs that can be found all over the floor of this biome. Not the most useful, but when combining 3 together, you can make paper. This is a great way to replenish your rocket supply on the go. These also give off a very small glow and can be used as a light source. You also have whispering trees. Probably one of my favorites of the new trees, these resemble like a weeping willow. These can also be broken down and crafted into all types of wooden building blocks. Another unique ore that can only be found in the Verdant Grove is the Viridian ore. Similar to the purpurite and dark purpurite, its main use is just for crafting Viridian building blocks. And last but not least, the Shadowfold. This biome is shrouded in mystery, and of those who enter, many never return. Heavy black fog clouds your view as you enter. Low visibility, bottomless rifts, and hostile creatures make for a challenging and dangerous journey. Despite the harsh nature of this biome, there are some structures that you may come across. Mainly the Shadowfold villages. Hidden in the deep black fog of the Shadowfold are shadow villagers, and have somehow discovered a way to make homes. These are a great place to shelter when lost in the abyss. As for the mobs of this area, they are very strange but mystical looking creatures that reside in the shadows. The Doomed Wolf. These shadows have teeth. From a distance they give off a faint glow, but when this predator senses a player, they will go dark, stalking and attacking from the darkness. When defeated, will drop glowstone dust. The Shadow Deer, a mystical creature embodying both light and darkness. Half its body is enveloped in a shadowy mist, while the other half glows bright white, giving it an almost ethereal, spectral presence. Drops both black and white essence when defeated. The Void Eye. The Void Eyes are silent, drifting presence in the Shadowfold, fixating on players with its eerie gaze, extremely deadly when in groups, as they can easily push players into the rifts and to their end. When defeated, they also both drop white and black essence. You also have the Winged Enderman, the Demon of the Shadowfold. This Enderman variant is aggressive, and will attack unprovoked. They hover through the thick black fog using their antenna to sense vibrations, similar to some insects and spiders. If defeated, they have a small chance to drop a winged Enderman heart. As it stands, the Shadowfold is a tough biome to explore. However, there are some very important blocks you can find here. One of those being the Mistveil Bloom, a light in the darkness. These flowers are some of the only plants that can survive in this biome. They give off a soft white glow that can help adventurers find their way through the shadows. These can be cultivated and farmed for glow pearls. These pearls will grant you night vision. These have a stacking bonus, increasing the duration the more you consume. Scorched trees cling to the void, its burnt black bark cracked with age, and beneath the charred surface, ghostly gray wood gleams in the endless dark. The scorched logs can be harvested and crafted into any of the normal wooden building materials. You can even strip the bark off these to get charcoal. Nocturnal stone. The stone can be found above Endstone but below the Endril layer in the Shadowfold. This can be used to craft some of the most important blocks this add-on has to offer. More specifically, gateways and respawn anchors, which actually leads me into my next topic that I want to cover, the mechanics. But first, I felt it was important to show off how this add-on interacts with the new Vibrant Visuals update. While it does make some of the colors really stand out, enhance some of the glows, and make things a little darker, there are a few bugs. Feeding any of the biome companions will turn them into this strange invisible outline. That's pretty trippy if you stare at it for too long. The other thing it doesn't do well is the darkness from the Shadowfold. Without the setting active, the biome is very dark. It truly makes you feel like the void is swallowing you whole. But when you turn the setting back on, everything's just kind of purple. It's no longer dark and spooky. You can see island silhouettes, and the ominous feeling that biome is really supposed to bring you isn't there anymore. I spoke with one of the devs recently, and they said that there should be a fix for some of these things coming very soon. One of the things I really enjoyed about this add-on is that it's designed in a way where you can completely become sustainable without ever leaving. You can set up a base and not only survive, but thrive. Now, there are two very important mechanics that allow you to do this. Respawn anchors allow you to respawn back into the end dimension so you don't constantly have to go back through the portal. And the void gateways allow you to fast travel between dimensions as well as around to different locations, making your traversal through these new ecosystems a breeze. These aren't just as simple as clicking a button though. They each require a type of fuel, and that's where essence comes into play. Remember, there is black, white, and verdant. White and black come from defeating void eyes and shadow deer, while verdant can only be crafted from cooking verdant stalks in a furnace. Now let's go over the respawn anchor first. To make this, you need to get yourself some nocturnal stone. If you don't want to spend too much time digging in the Shadowfold, you can also steal some from village homes if you want to ruin a poor villager's day. Next, combine 3 nocturnal stone, 3 end stone, 2 verdant essence, and 1 golem core. These respawn anchors allow you to respawn inside the end, so you're never forced to respawn in the overworld. You need to charge the anchor with any of the 3 essences, and 4 essence will give you a full charge. Each time you die, one of those charges is used. So if you die a 5th time and you haven't recharged the anchor, it's back to the overworld you go. Make sure to set your spawn point after charging the anchor by interacting with it. Exactly like you do when crafting a bed, or else you just crafted a nifty block for nothing. Along with the anchor also comes the void gateways. These act as your waystones or teleporters to better traverse the end. You can jump between gates that you have set up by using essence as a type of currency based on the chords of the gate that you're trying to jump to. It's a lot less confusing than it sounds. First, craft a gate. You need 3 endstone, 3 nocturnal stone brick slabs, 2 eyes of ender, and 1 golem core. To get the slabs, you take some of that nocturnal stone you've collected and put it into a stone cutter to make nocturnal stone bricks. Then from there you can cut it down further into slabs. Now that you have your gate, you need gateway stands. These look like offering lecterns, where you can place different color essences. To make these, you need again 5 nocturnal stone brick slabs, 1 end stone, and 1 emerald. Remember, this mechanic works like a currency based off of the coordinates of the gate you're trying to jump to. Depending on how far you're trying to travel, and if the gate is higher or lower than your current position, it will require more essence of one type to complete the jump. Luckily, there isn't any math involved or anything. The system does everything for you. Place your essences in the stands and you're good to go. The configuration of the void gate and the stands doesn't matter, as long as the stands are within 5 blocks of the gateway itself. You can have more than 3, just as long as you have 1 for each color. Essences have more than just one use. Along with being fuel for the anchor in the gateways, they can also be bottled and consumed to grant you unique bonuses. White essence grants you absorption 2, black essence grants you strength 2, and verdant grants levitation. Both white and black benefits last for 12 seconds, and verdant lasts for 20. And just like the other consumables from this add-on, consuming multiple will stack the benefits and increase the duration. If you're playing this add-on for the first time, or maybe this is your first experience with the end altogether, you'll need a way to get back to the overworld. Well, your options are limited, but don't worry, you're not trapped forever. One way you can travel between dimensions is by placing a void gateway in the overworld. This obviously requires you have gone into the end and acquired the materials to make it, but the other way is to exit the same way you do in vanilla Minecraft, by finding an end gateway. These will appear with a beam, just like a beacon once you get close to them. They spawn periodically throughout the end dimension, toss an ender pearl through it just like you did to enter, and voila, you're back to the end island. You guys are also probably asking yourself where I got this sweet looking armor from. Well, this add-on doesn't just overhaul the biomes, it also adds new loot for you to chase. There are 3 new armor sets, 2 of which utilize new ores, and the armor I'm wearing being one of them, as well as 2 weapon sets to match, all of which come with special set bonuses, and yes, they can be enchanted to further increase their potency. First is the Shulker set. While not having the best defense, it makes up for by having really high durability. Each piece grants a reduction to the levitation effect by 25%. These stack per piece, equaling a 100% levitation immunity when wearing the full set. Next is the Ametrine armor. This is found scattered throughout the end in chests and villages, but can also be made with Ametrine crystals. This set has great protection, but is slightly less durable than diamond armor. And in my opinion, this armor design is the best. The suit of armor with the helmet and the gold crystal accents, absolutely stunning. These pieces are often found in the wild with pretty decent enchantments by default. Lastly is the Enderite armor. This is a small step up from vanilla netherite, but comes with some extra perks. Each piece grants a 12.5% lifesteal effect, and these items can't be destroyed in the void. They just float right at Y0. The process to crafting Enderite gear is very similar to netherite. First, find some eternal debris. This spawns rarely, in the lowest level islands of the end. It also follows the same spawn patterns as netherite, where you can find clusters of 2 to 3 at a time. So always make sure to clear the surrounding blocks when finding one. Once you've actually found some eternal debris, you can smelt it down to Enderite scrap. Crafting together 4 scrap and 4 Ametrine ingots will make 1 Enderite ingot. Exactly like netherite, you will need a smithing template when crafting Enderite pieces, however the process is slightly different. You still upgrade from diamond, but you don't need a smithing table. You can just combine all 3 pieces in a crafting station. The templates are pretty rare, so if you do manage to find one in a dungeon, make sure to copy it so you can upgrade more than just 1 piece of gear. The recipe is 7 diamonds, 1 template, and a block of endstone just like this. Besides armor and weapons, there is also the Void Totem, which I mentioned earlier, coming from defeated endrays or found as a rare reward inside shulker boxes throughout the end. This new totem is your lifeline when accidentally flying too low, or perhaps taking a wrong step while wandering through the Shadowfold. Exactly like a normal totem, it will give you a second chance at life. This one, however, will grant you levitation, feather falling, and a health boost. It automatically triggers when you go below Y0. So instead of losing all your progress to an accidental misstep, this totem allows exploration to be much safer and much more exciting. One of the coolest items that you can get are the new cloud boots. These are more of a novelty item similar to elytra that help you with end traversal. As long as there is a space of more than 5 blocks below you, the boots will generate clouds you can walk on. No more needing fireworks to fly around, just run across the void to the next island. In order to get these though, you'll need to have incredible luck and find one in a dungeon chest, or to guarantee the drop, you will need to take on one of the most challenging parts of this add-on, the Void Dragon. Deep within the Shadowfold, shrouded in eternal darkness, lies an arena unlike any other. a place where legends whispers of an ancient force waiting to be unleashed. Here lies the Void Dragon. This area is used to awaken and fight the Void Dragon. Surrounding the area stand ancient Enderman statues, one from each biome. In order to begin the fight, you must match the heart to the correct Enderman. A normal heart, a gilded heart, a pale heart, a mycotic heart, a mossy heart, and a winged heart. Once these have been placed, you will witness probably one of the coolest cutscenes that I have ever seen on Bedrock. This fight isn't as mechanic heavy as the normal End Dragon, but don't let that fool you. The 1.1 patch made this fight much more challenging. The dragon has more health, takes less damage from ranged attacks, and is much more aggressive. You can expect to see two different attacks. The first main attack is Abyssal Incineration, a blinding beam of white-hot void fire, capable of melting through reality itself. And the second is the Eclipse Grip. The Void Dragon snatches its prey, lifting them high into the air. Unlucky victims can only watch in horror as the arena disappears beneath them, until they are mercilessly dropped into the void below. But there is a way to break free. Just keep jumping. This will cause the dragon to drop you, but make sure there is solid ground below you or else that fight is over. If you're trying to decide if you are ready to take on the Void Dragon with your current gear, in this gameplay I was using a full set of base Enderite gear and a sword with no enchantments. However, the bow that I was using did have Punch, Flame, and Infinity. I still burned through quite a few enchanted apples during that fight, so hopefully that gives you an idea of where you should be when taking on this final challenge of the Eternal End. And with that, guys, we have come to the end of the guide. This is a fantastic add-on to add to any world or realm to give you an entire new world to explore once you've reached that quote-unquote end game, where most playthroughs slow down. This is one of my biggest guides/reviews that I have ever done. This video took months of research, testing, and editing to get just right, as well as designing and building that stage that you guys have seen in the background. And if it helped you out or taught you something new, a like and a sub would really mean the world. We're closing in on 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely unreal. Thank you guys so much for being a part of that. And hey, if there's another add-on that you think deserves a spotlight, drop it in the comments. I'm always on the hunt for something new. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming and watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Wolf, out!